that feeling of accomplishment and working together with other guys, it really had an impact on him that changed his entire view on everything. And from that moment moving forward, he was always trying to recapture that experience that he had at Arkansas. He wanted to own a sports team. He wanted to work together with other men to be able to put together a winner and experience the jubilation and the that incredible high that he got from winning the national championship at Arkansas. So it kind of really does kind of paint a picture of why he pursues the things that he does. And I find that to be, well, it's fascinating. I mean, the guy he leveraged everything on an oil well, and he struck it rich and won $100 million overnight. And then from that point forward, he had the cash flow to be able to go out and become a serious contender to buy a team. And he did. When the Cowboys came up for sale during some tough economic times in the 80s, the opportunity opened up for Jerry Jones to step in and get ownership. And so he did that. And then from that point, because he, is big on loyalty and trust, he went out to hire Jimmy Johnson to be his head coach because that was a guy who he trusted. It was someone that he had worked with, someone he had won a national championship with, and that's what kind of started the ball rolling from there. But what you find is, like a lot of these situations, whether it's Kobe and Shaq or it's the Bulls ownership when they had the teams with MJ and Scottie back in the day, there's always egos that get involved because people are looking for the credit that they deserve. Jerry Krause wanted the credit for the Bulls dynasties with MJ, talking about how organizations win championships. We've seen it with Shaq and Kobe, where they both wanted to be able to say that they were the man and the reason why the Lakers won 3 straight titles. And those two egos got in the way and derailed what could have been a team that maybe had won 5 or 6 championships. So egos always get in the way, and the same thing happened with Jerry Jones and Jimmy Johnson. But my whole point about ownership is that I don't have an issue with an owner that wants to be involved, with an owner that wants to learn the business of sport and wants to be a part of the decision-making. And the reason why is because if you risk everything and you're the one that, put your entire existence on the line to be an owner, and you've got the funding to be able to get that done, and you cut all the checks and you take all the risk. Well, if you take all the risk and you put yourself out there like that, why shouldn't you be able to call some of the shots? I think that's what it comes down to. But the problem with Jerry is that I think as time went on after the Jimmy experience, it sure seemed like he was looking for people that could come in and work with him but follow his lead. Jimmy Johnson was his own man. Jimmy Johnson had confidence. Jimmy Johnson was a very smart football guy and a successful coach. A strong personality, which you needed to be able to grow that team and lead that group that they did with Troy Aikman, Michael Irvin, and Emmitt Smith. So I think Jerry has struggled all these years to find the right coach and the right people around him. And I think sometimes his ego has gotten the best of him, where maybe if he would have been able to recognize that and take a step back and allow some other people to come in and make better decisions, maybe the Cowboys wouldn't be 30 years without being in a Super Bowl. But I respect Jerry. I like Jerry because as you find as time goes on, like he truly cares about his players, really cares about his players. And you get that sense from the guys who have been around him. They may not agree with all of his decisions. They may think he might be a bit crazy at times, but he truly cares about his players, much like Paul Allen did. So I would suggest checking it out. It's really good. The stuff on Deion Sanders is great. How he was with the 49ers, won a Super Bowl against the Chargers, and the next year Jerry Jones knew they needed Deion to be able to get them back over the hump again, so he went out and signed him to a big deal, and the Cowboys went out and won the Super Bowl against the Steelers in that 95 season. But the competition between two great teams, two dynasties in the 49ers and the Cowboys, I mean, those two organizations, their desire to win and their desire to be great, push them to the level that we saw, which is fascinating on so many different levels. But I respect Jerry Jones a lot, and I love the fact that he's got great passion for the game. He also went against the grain when it came to ownership and his desire to go out and get, sponsorship deals. The way he was able to, help the other owners drive up, the TV deals. I mean, all the work that Jerry's done behind the scenes, he probably won't get the credit he deserves, but he's a Hall of Famer for a reason, and that's because, he's got that unique ability that I wish I had, where you see it in a lot of great entrepreneurs or, managers or business owners, where they're able to, be forward thinkers and see things before they happen, and Jerry was able to do that, and look at the result. I mean, the NFL teams now, the value continues to climb. The Cowboys are the most valuable franchise in the NFL. And these teams are making boatloads of cash, and a lot of that's because of Jerry. So check it out. It's a very good story. They did a good job on it, and I think Jerry, look, he's crazy, and he hasn't always gotten every decision right, but he cares about his players, and I respect that. And that really comes through. Jimmy Johnson, and the best part is those two guys, Jerry and Jimmy, after years and years, were finally able to come together and let bygones be bygones and form that relationship once again. After a serious divide, they're able to come together, and Jimmy got put into the Cowboys Ring of Fame, which is where he belongs. So check it out. I mean, it's a great, a documentary to watch right on the eve of football season because it will get your juices flowing. It certainly did mine. All right, a couple of different things I want to touch on here. I want to take a look around the NFL, and I want to reset where I come out on these teams, on the playoff teams, on the divisions, and how I see everything shaking out because I've had a chance to see the teams. I've seen the maneuvers, and so we now kind of have an idea of what these NFL teams are going to be once the season kicks off here in a week. We'll start in the AFC. I think the AFC East is about one team, and it might be the best team. It's the Buffalo Bills. They have great balance on both sides of the ball. They have now found a way to create balance within the offense to get some legitimate running game next to Josh Allen. And Josh Allen's an MVP who can do anything you need him to do on a football field. He's great. I love Josh Allen. Great leader, incredible arm strength, great athleticism. I mean, he is a real problem for defensive coordinators to deal with because he can throw it over the top of your defense. He can maneuver with his legs to pick up first downs when things break down, and he's a great decision maker, and he's a great leader. Now, he does get a little bit wild sometimes with his arm because he can make every throw, so that might result in a turnover or two, but he's everything you want. And the Bills this year, anything less than reaching the Super Bowl would be a total disaster with the type of team that they have. But outside of that, the Miami Dolphins are a disaster. They lack identity. A lot of people are now questioning the head coach in Mike McDaniel, and they just don't have what it takes to be competitive in the conference or in that division. The New England Patriots made the right hire by bringing in Mike Vrabel to be head coach. They've got the young quarterback in Drake May. I think their defense is going to be really good. I think they're going to be much improved, one of the more improved teams in the NFL this year, but I do not think they make the playoffs. And the Jets, I'm sorry, East Coast Earl, they're the Jets. They suck. And the Jets, because they suck and because they're a poor organization that's run by buffoonery, they're not going to factor in. So in the division, AFC East, I think the Bills win the division. I think they'll be the number one seed in the AFC, and followed by, in this order, Patriots, Dolphins, Jets. One team in the postseason from the AFC East. In the AFC North, this is a great division, one of the better divisions in football. There's no doubt who's going to finish last in the division. That's the Cleveland Browns. Joe Flacco's not going to last probably past week 6. Take a look at the schedule for the Browns in the first 6 weeks of the season. So if you're wondering, what are the Browns doing and when are we going to get a chance to see maybe Dylan Gabriel or Shedeur Sanders get a chance to play, don't worry, you're not going to have to wait long. Here are the Browns' first 6 games. And I think the Browns, they're not going to acknowledge it. They're not going to talk about it, but I think they're tanking and trying to put themselves in a better position to get the eventual franchise quarterback. First 6 weeks for the Browns this year. Bengals, week 1, at the Ravens, home against the Packers, at the Lions, home against the Vikings, at the Steelers. So by week 6, the Browns might be 0-6. They'll be out of contention in division, and then at that point, you'll start to hear the clamoring for one of the young quarterbacks to step in. My point being is that both Shedeur Sanders and Dylan Gabriel are going to get a chance to play this year and start games. I truly believe that because the Browns are going to want to know what they have in those two guys before we get into next season, before the draft. So don't worry, the Browns are going to struggle because the schedule's tough, and they got Joe Flacco, a quarterback who is a good vet. He's smart. The players like him, and you got to start him because you want to give the vets that sense of purpose, like they have a chance to go out and compete right away, but that team's going nowhere fast. In the AFC North, I like Baltimore to finish first, one of the best teams in football. They have an identity. They have a great front office, maybe the best in football. Head coach Jim Harbaugh is one of the best, and they're led by Lamar Jackson, who continues to get better throwing the football on time, on target, but he's got the legs and the mobility to just be deadly. We haven't seen a quarterback like him ever. With his mobility, his arm strength, the way he can break down a defense, he's tremendous. I like Cincinnati to finish second. Their defense is a big-time question mark, but Joe Burrow is so good, and his skill position players are so talented that they're going to win games with their offense. And Joe Burrow will put himself in contention for the MVP. I like the Steelers to finish third and the Browns to finish last. So I think you're going to get 2 playoff teams from the North to join Buffalo, and then that takes us to the AFC South. It's a one-team division. You've got Houston, Indianapolis, Jacksonville, and Tennessee. I think Tennessee will finish probably third in the division ahead of Indianapolis, but I like Houston to win the division. Their offensive line is a question mark right now. We'll see if that can materialize with time, but C.J. Stroud, I think he'll have an even bigger year this year. I mean, he was good last year, but not as good as his rookie season. But I know C.J. Stroud has got the work ethic and the talent to be the course of the season, how they utilize him both on offense and defense. One of the great athletes in the NFL. So we got 4 teams thus far: Buffalo, Baltimore, Cincinnati, Houston, and then the AFC West. Best division in football and the best collection of coaches in the history of the NFL in one division, with Sean Payton, Andy Reid, Pete Carroll, and Jim Harbaugh. You're not going to find 4 better coaches in one division ever. That's how good they are. I like Kansas City to win the division. I think Denver will challenge, but I still, until Patrick Mahomes is gone, I'm going to always lean Kansas City. Their experience, I think they're going to take a step back this year, but I think they win the division. I think Denver finishes second, followed by the Chargers and the Raiders. 3 teams out of the AFC West make the postseason: Denver, Kansas City, and the Chargers, just like last year. And those are your 7 playoff teams: Buffalo, Baltimore, Cincinnati, Houston, Denver, Kansas City, and the Chargers. Now, the Raiders are going to be fun to watch. They brought in a lot of veterans on both sides of the ball, and you should feel pretty good because Pete Carroll is one of the best coaches of all time. He knows what he's doing, and he's going to provide that steady hand that they need in terms of direction. Now, with the Broncos, the Broncos are sneaky really good this year. Bo Nix in year number 2, one of the best offensive lines in football, although